You are listening to the Holistic Travel Nurse podcast. This episode, we're going to talk about fat as fuel and the importance of inflammation. I'm going to be doing a Zoom call. If you want to be part of my tribe, I like to do Zoom calls on Sundays, 6:30 Central Standard Time. And I send those out. I don't have a... You can send me a DM if you want to be a part of those on Insta, Facebook. Facebook, I don't get them as much, but you can send it there. Or you can always reach out to me at email, holistictravelnurse@gmail.com. It is personally me you actually talk to, not some automated system or something of that, because I've reached out to people. Some people, I've read their books and I thought they were really great. Maybe they might want to come on my podcast and talk about why they wrote that book, and I get like an automated thing. Or I want to be on somebody else's podcast and I get an automated thing, and it drives me nuts, and I don't want to do it to anybody else. So Facebook Messenger sort of does it, but my private email does not. So it just takes me some time, but you get a hold of me. But in this episode, let's talk about inflammation in your body and omega-3, omega-6s, and fatty acids, and what's in your diet. Because it was like, for years, I had the wrong oils that we've been cooking with at home. And there are some articles in a book that I've been reading lately, and it's intriguing that you still don't see this reflected in our everyday healthcare, that is still taught them low fat diet, all sorts of kind of stuff that is nonsense. Good fat is so important for you. And if you are in the fast-paced world that everybody is, sometimes you're getting way too much soybean oil and canola oil, which is inflammation to your body. So soybean oil, a vegetable oil made of soybean seeds, is one of the most popular consumed in the U.S. Fast food, packaged foods. It's in livestock feed, so it's what they're feeding sometimes, so you're getting it in that way too. There's a study out of University of California, Riverside, that researchers linked between soybean and genetic changes in the brain in mice. Pretty interesting, because I had a family member that had Alzheimer's, and I've had family members with dementia. In recent years, there's a whole bunch of other studies that the types of fats we have in our diet, those not so great fats in our diet, linked to primarily to our heart health and obesity. Oils such as, it says peanut, but I think peanut oil is not that bad, just my opinion. Soybean, sesame, and canola oils have some recent studies about being pretty harmful. We all know, if you know the Mediterranean diet, that olive oil has been put as a good oil. You can't cook it at a high temperature, though. It's the pillar of the Mediterranean diet, and it's supposed to be even best for your brain when it comes to cardiovascular disease and even Alzheimer's. But you know what? Let's go back to bacon and eggs. Saturated fats are super good for you. Good old fried, I'm sorry, if you don't eat pig, then you can get your saturated fat with clarified butter, ghee if you are lactose intolerant, and your coconut oils. They're very good for you. So, but in the same in the same study, this is like 2015, there was a study done that was in 2015 that was potential contributing to obese people and diabetes, linked to the consumption and overconsumption of soybean oil. And it's super easy. You find it in so many it's found in the salad dressings, so many fast food restaurants, so many processed things. Man, you want some chips, they're in canola and soybean oil you have to really search to find them, in olive oil or something. So the brain and soybean oil, there's big studies on that. So brain fuel, and your brain is a lot of fat, and you're giving it the wrong sort of fat. And it's just it's an interesting thing that we still seen. I mean, I work in the hospital setting, and if you're doing keto, if you're doing really low carb and you want good fats, oh my gosh, they still serve you margarine, which is just unbelievable that we still serve that crap. And to find real butter is actually really hard. And then everything they are all low fat, low fat. Well, low fat, then you're increasing your carbohydrates. And carbohydrates, fast acting carbohydrates, are feeding any carbohydrates, you're feeding certain bacteria in your gut. But those fast acting ones, your body doesn't know the difference between that bagel and that donut. It's just how quickly it's going to be broken down to sugar. Pretty much that's the difference. How quickly is that going to be broken down to sugar? And then, are you going to be a sugar burner all the time and your brain constantly addicted to sugar unless you work hard? Because that was me. That was totally me. I used to I think I would keep snacks in the car. I had them in my backpack at work because in the healthcare field, we don't know when we're going to eat. And when we finally got a meal, we'd be so starved. And recently, I have done a 24-hour fast. I want to push my further, and I want to go further in my fasting, and know that I am not addicted to carbs. I can have carbs, but I'm cautious with my carbs, and I'm cautious with the type of foods that I eat. It might cost more money to get those good foods in my house, but those are your building blocks to your health. So it's so important to have the right fuel. Like I have a car that if I put a lower octane in it, it's not going to run, or it's going to have issues. So you got to think of your body that way too. You have to take turn and think of your body that way. What are you feeding your brain cells? What are you feeding your building blocks and information in your body? Are you feeding it those? It's simple. Make a simple change. I will link in the articles. There's lots of great articles. There's a new one right now that's funny that's out about COVID and cause and major issues being these canola oil and soybean oil and these vegetable oils that cause so much problems. And I will link that completely in the show notes because this is my passion, to have an avenue where I can teach people the little things that have made big changes in my own health. I mean, that's the way I became a nurse. I mean, it was having my own child sick, and gosh, how can I help her? How can I help her? And I mean, years of going and seeing physicians and actually not getting anywhere. We did so many different drugs and things, and it really didn't help her in the long run. It's sick medicine, so we would I had my own stockpile of steroids at home, prednisone. So she had a major flare up with her breathing that I could just start it on her before we have to rush her to the hospital. And watching someone do a simple thing such as breathing and struggle to breathe is really hard. Watching people you love is even harder. I have a hard time still watching patients struggle to breathe, and I don't know them. And it's the same thing with your family members. It's a simple thing that we forget that is crucial to life, and if you and every breath is a work for your body, and you're physically using accessory muscles to make that air in and out of your lungs. That is not good stuff. It's not. And then depleting your body and your immune system on steroids off and on is not good either. There's so many side effects to that. And balancing your immune system, finding the triggers, that the foods, the toxins, the things that are causing this inflammation in your body is so important, so darn important. And in so much lies in what we eat and how we eat. And those omegas, it was when we made the switch and we stopped, I started taking an omega-3 complex, and then I think it was about almost a year or so later, that's when I stopped the canola oil and I started getting more coconut oils, and I haven't had that in my house in a long time. I've made those changes. I have felt better in my body. I don't even know how to describe it, just feeling better in my body and having more vitality. and knowing that we're doing something amazing for our body, and just knowing that we can enjoy food. We just enjoy food in a much healthier aspect. Matter of fact, it was funny because we were at Disney a couple of years back, and I had not been eating like a lot of sugar, and we actually had some ice cream because who doesn't freaking love ice cream? I couldn't even finish it. It was like so sugary and so rich. I couldn't finish it. I was like, I just got to throw it away. I know you're spending $10 at Disney for ice cream, for a scoop of ice cream, but and it feels wasteful that you throw it away, but I couldn't. But that's what it is. It's like that you've trained my body. I'm working on training my body and my mind. I'm processing eating the proper nutrition and balancing it with good, healthy fats. Um, I love my freaking bacon. I love a naked BLT. I'm sure I've talked about this on the podcast before. So if you go out to lunch with me and you take me to lunch, hey, one of the things you can buy me. I love breakfast for dinner. We do breakfast for doing, it's like one of my husband's favorite things. Breakfast for dinner. I remember my kids loving that too. Oh my gosh, if I did breakfast for dinner, they loved it. But I've actually been fasting all day. I actually got to yoga and felt amazing in yoga, and I have had my coffee with half and half, but that is the only thing I've had all day. And so, well, besides water, it's important to have water and hydration and good hydration and not bottled water. I really suggest people get your own filtration system and not get the bottled water at the store. Or unless you buy the big jugs where you have someone who's making the reverse osmosis machine and bottling the water for you. But it's so important to have good quality water. Now, I'm progressing. But when we're talking about healthy fats, so literally it just makes some changes in your lifestyle and look at what you're purchasing. And, it was funny because I wanted potato chips. I was like, I'm going to have some potato chips. It was actually a chore to find one that was cooked in olive oil. I was like, what in the world? I mean, it is so hard to find something that's cooked in good olive oil. I would love it if it was freaking fried in coconut oil or butter, but olive oil is fine. But I'm staying clear from canola oil every way possible and soybean oil every way possible. And so at home, we are very cautious. And even going out to eat is pretty hard sometimes too. I mean, shoot, if you had fast food, it's ridiculous. That's why McDonald's fries are so amazing. It's what the oil they're cooking them in, not necessarily the fries. It's nice that Chick-fil-A and Five Guys, and I know I'm thinking, and you can put it in the comments somewhere, another restaurant that actually cooks in peanut oil, which I think is better choice than soybean or canola oil. Not the best, but better. But that's still not low carb if you're eating a ton of French fries. We don't eat that many potatoes. We don't eat a lot of those things. We work on eating healthier, nutritious food. Actually, I made a low carb lasagna. And you're listening to this podcast going, you're just making me hungry. I know. So I made this low carb. I found these noodles in the fridge section that made more with almond flour. So a lot more low carb. I don't think they were completely gluten free or not. I'm not sure. You'll have to go check. I don't even know the brand. But lasagna noodles. And I made my own little tomato sauce, marinara sauce. And I watch, again, those that I buy too, if I'm going to buy any of the tomato sauces, and spiced it with yummy spices. And you know what? I love my oregano and my basil essential oil in those methods when I cook. Now, please don't go put a whole drop in a sauce. I'd put a drop on the spoon and then drip it off the spoon and then add it to the sauce and then taste it. Your oregano or your basil smells and tastes so good if you love those spices. Oh my gosh, so good in the sauce. And then I add my garlic, and I even had mushrooms sauteed with onions, and I did hamburger meat. Plus, we did, my husband wanted some Italian sausage. I just bought some really good pork and made it more Italian sausage, adding my seasonings to it. Some of my I like black peppers. You can even use your black pepper essential oil if you wanted in your sauce, if that's what you liked. Or if you're more a little sweet on the sweet side, you like that spaghetti sauce a little bit sweeter, you can definitely add a little stevia to it. But it made it so yummy. And then we did ricotta cheese, of course, in it. Who doesn't love ricotta cheese? I'm sorry if you don't eat dairy. We can eat dairy and no problem now. It used to be an issue for my husband. We don't do cow's milk, but when we buy our dairy, we're very cautious about how brands and types of dairy we buy. But we had mozzarella cheese and we had ricotta, and I layered it. And this is the first time in my adult life, and I am over the age of 40, that I made a lasagna out of scratch. But I didn't obviously make the noodles. I mean, I probably could figure that out, but I don't have that roller thing. Maybe I do have that attachment on my KitchenAid, who knows? But I live in a freaking RV, and getting my KitchenAid out, it would just take up more than half my counter space because it's so big. But it's amazing but I don't have the space to do that in my little RV. Well, my little food ninja oven is like the best little thing in the RV. If you ever decide to travel around like we do in an RV, the ovens don't, with the propane, don't cook that well. And they're just not even. Plus, they can really heat up the RV. And it's summertime and you still possibly want to bake. That freaking Ninja Foodie thing, it's like a little oven thing, is amazing. And it's so amazing to cook in. Toast, fry, air fry, bake. Oh my gosh, it does it all. I can do crispy bacon in it, which I'm going to do tonight. I love that thing. They are not getting sponsored on this podcast. They should really sponsor my podcast. But now you're going to go look at it. It was kind of pricey. But if you decide to travel and live in an RV, those are some of the things that make your life a little easier in traveling. And there's so many other little things. We had the power go out. It was in the RV park and my husband has spent 5 hours with our 2 dogs plus 2 puppies in the truck. And we have the generator. I was like, well, get a generator. We've never put gas in the generator, so he didn't want to get it up and running and take it out and get it unless we got it for just in case. And once you put the gasoline in the generator, then you got to run it every so often. And we didn't want to. The RV park was saying, well, they weren't sure what was going on. They had people coming out and looking at it. It was this stressful day. I got off work early. We thought we're gonna have to move our RV, our fifth wheel, into a different spot. Oh, talk about irritation. But I progress. So now you know a little bit more about me, about living in an RV. I mean, I have not really shared so much about that. We have been doing that for like 3 years, almost 4. And yeah, the little maintenance and things you have to do on your RV, you have to figure it out. Like, that's when he realized, okay, those batteries, which for some reason we have like 4 of them, are helpful for keeping the lights on. Wouldn't run the AC, of course, at all. But then in boondocking, we know they don't have enough juice and we have to replace them, because if we were boondocking, like we've stayed in rest stops and things like that when we're traveling, and if it's not hot, we can open the slide some if it doesn't matter. There are some really incredible rest stops. We stayed at some in South Carolina, in Georgia, on the Turnpike in New Jersey. So we've really been all over the place. And that is the best part of, like, deciding to do something and then you let fear kind of hang you back from maybe pushing for a goal or something you wanted to really do on your bucket list. You have to just go for it and conquer that fear and just totally go for it. And that's kind of what we've done with this whole adventurous of living in an RV and traveling everywhere. We've met really incredible people that we've camped next to or lived next to for a while. We have seen so much amazing things, and like I said, got to do Disney with no children, which is super cool. And going to do, we've just we loved the adventure. And looking back now, I wish I would have spent some money in certain areas and done more adventurous things that we just didn't do. And I was so focused on getting out of debt that I literally missed doing fun things. And I was like, you know what? That was stupid of me. So now, in retrospect, you can always go back and review some of the things you've done. You can do the same thing with your health. You can go, oh my gosh, for years I've just been feeding my body and my mind crappy crap, and I need to make the change. And then so throw out canola oil and soybean oil, and vegetable oil, so cheap. If you have it in your house, throw it out. If I was in your house and I saw it, I'd throw it away, because I want to be your good friend and care for you, and I'd throw it away. And then I would go, oh, let's go shopping and actually make some stuff with really good fats, because your health matters. Your health matters that much that I don't, if you listen to that podcast where I say, I don't want you my patient, I don't want you my patient. And I do plan to have on other experts and other amazing people on the podcast. But I've been reading a book and I've been talking about it and thinking about healthy fats and good fats and bad fats for a while. So I thought, well, gosh, I might have talked about this in the past. It doesn't matter. It's a really important topic, because it's so important for your health. The right omega-3. So sardines are super really good for you, because they have the right amount of omegas in you, and some good saturated fats. Get them in the olive oil though, or water. Don't get them in the soybean oil if you actually eat those. So if you're into air frying and then you want to smother it with butter afterwards, awesome. If you know how to make it an incredible fried chicken, gluten-free or low carbish, cooked in I do want a deep fryer, because I want to know if you can cook coconut oil and bring it up to that and then deep fry stuff. It's just that my husband's going to go, where the heck are you going to put these appliances in our RV? I have juicers from when I wanted to juice out in the outside kitchen. I have so many other little appliances and things outside if I needed to be, just because it's easier to cook. We only have 3 little burners. And it was funny because we've done Thanksgiving dinner, or tried to. You really can't cook a turkey. You can cook a small turkey, but boy, that would be so much work. In that Ninja would be really hard to do, or in the oven. I'd much rather have somebody do it for me. But and that's the thing, is I wish it would be, if I would get a franchise restaurant with healthier foods that you could, certainly, if you want a freaking hamburger, awesome. If you want a bun on it, fine. Then let's have some not bleached flour, good bun. Or if you want it naked, it's good. And then it's a good quality, actual grass-fed hamburger. Or if you want a turkey burger. I'm not into those vegan, soy processed hamburgers. And if you want a naked sandwich, you can have a naked sandwich. If you wanted french fries fried, hey, shoot, wouldn't it be fun to fry them in actual lard? Imagine how wonderful those would taste. Or even in their coconut oil. I am definitely not a chef, so if somebody else is a good chef and wants to do the restaurant part, and I will help the restaurant franchise, I will be a part of it. And I have ideas, lots of ideas, because I thought, well, gosh, if we made it easier for people to pick healthier food in their busy life, and healthier choices just like that, then we would see improved health and less patients. And if people would stop going through the franchise of massive healthy places, fast food places, that's where we can make a change. It's funny because McDonald's and I've heard in Europe has organic, beef. but America is processed. What we do to cows here. And if you've never had a grass-fed, totally finished hamburger or bison or steak that way, oh my gosh, and then you have something else, you don't know what to compare it to. So I'm gonna go make me breakfast for dinner. I'm gonna go eat some really good fat. I digressed in a whole bunch of this. I hope that you see that you can make simple choices in your life, and it will pay off in the long run, and that you will be a because to make real true change is about where you spend your money and who you spend your money with when it comes to companies and products and foods. And I definitely want your business. If you are looking for essential oils, the link will be below. If you want one-on-one just health coaching, I am affordable. If you want to be on my Sunday night Zoom calls that are absolutely free, I have like all these other incredible people that have gone on these calls that are just smarter than me and put so much insight in an area where we're all social distancing and wearing masks. I went for this at the end of July 2020. It's so important to still connect with one another, and that's one way we can connect and really help one another out is being on a Zoom call. If you don't know what Zoom is, it's really simple. I can send a link that's really easy to use. It's so I can actually see you during the conversation if I needed to. You could actually talk and speak with me directly, which I look forward to doing with you. I want to thank you for listening and Jess for being a part of this podcast and part of the conversation and pursuing your health and making simple choices that are really going to move the needle in your health. Share this with somebody else, and if you please give it a review on iTunes or Podbean, Spotify, however you love to consume it. Oh, I'm on Pandora now. Google, you name it. It makes it where more people can see it, and you don't know who's out there who really needs just this simple little idea as to how to manage and take care of their health and little things they can be doing to improve their health. So I hope you're getting some good fats, maybe you're going to go eat an avocado. I got to go deal with the dog. Have a wonderful day.